Contrary to popular belief. What's not a bad thing? Not spending the holidays with your family. It's so much less stressful. Being frugal, to a point. I think being able to control spending habits, save money, and being able to assess what items are necessary vs excessive in one's life is often overlooked in a consumerist society. Until this year, I was using my iPhone 4 happily. Friends and family would constantly make jokes about my ancient phone and how I am just too cheap to buy a new one. The truth was that it was still working fine and fulfilling all the needs I had for a phone. So why spend money to replace something that is still working? Note, I am not advocating for the extremes of this like my previous roommate who refused to turn on our AC or heating. It once read 51 degrees Fahrenheit on our thermostat during December. Putting your own happiness before the expectations of your family. Edit, I'm going to clarify that I meant more along the line that you shouldn't allow the expectations from family members like parents/grandparents/uncles/aunts etc. to get in the way of what makes you happy. I kept the comment more open-ended since situations can differ wildly and different people can have different reasons for feeling this way, so I didn't want to be too specific. Black cats. Receiving a very small tax return. It means you estimated your deductions correctly and you didn't overpay on your taxes. Liking vanilla sex. Edit, thank you kind strangers for the awards. Support and words of encouragement in the comments below. Nobody deserves to be shamed based on their personal preferences. The stigma behind talking about your pay with fellow co-workers. In the States it is legal. By talking about your wages you help ensure you and co-workers are being paid fairly. Edit, I made an oopsie. I think it was understood, but what I mean is, you should talk about your wages. Saying no when someone asks you to do something that they're entirely capable of doing. Being basic in the sense that you have likes and hobbies similar to a group of people. Not liking animals. And this is coming from an animal lover. Some people just don't like them for various reasons, and so long as they don't mistreat them, they aren't monsters. Using violence to defend yourself or others. It's sad that it comes to that, but if someone is hell-bent on causing you harm and your only choice is to use violence to stop them, it's not bad. Getting a full night's sleep every night and also having a good work/life balance. The two things not being entirely unconnected. Using a credit card. If you're sensible and ensure it's paid off at the end of every month. There are many perks. Cashback, air miles etc. I've heard a bunch of people spouting off recycling isn't worth it. It is even worse for the environment than just throwing it away. This is case of hearing something correct and just blanket applying it to everything. There are certain things that are undeniably better to recycle. Specifically metals. And for glass and paper there are ways to make it environmentally positive. Plastics are the hardest due to contamination. But we can make it better as well as reduce single-use plastics. Yes, corporations tricked us into believing recycling was the key to fixing the environment. But that doesn't mean that recycling can't be useful. Canceling plans with friends if you just don't have the energy to do so. Political leaders admitting they are wrong and doing a U-turn. Message. That's it. Being without a large group of friends and acquaintances. For some people, having a wide social circle is great. But I think a lot of people end up preferring quality over quantity. As you get older, you have less time, and more importantly less patience, for more superficial social things and prefer quality time with people you love and trust. When it comes time to have a really big rager of a party, it can be hard to scrape up enough people to fill it. But this is really the only downside I can think of for most people. Contentment. I not only don't need an exciting life, I actively don't want one. One of my friends loves to travel and do crazy shit, scuba diving, swimming with sharks, going on days-long backpacking trips. Not at all for me. She cannot fathom the fact I don't care for travel. Edit, a lot of people are homing in on the travel thing, I'm really just using that as an example of living excitingly. I truly just mean anything that gives off a rush. Not for me. Sleeping during the day and staying up all night. Some people are more comfortable being up at night and sleeping during the day, like myself. I used to work a few overnight jobs, and it's disheartening how many people still look down on those who don't wake up at the crack of dawn and go to bed in the evening. Somebody who changes their beliefs. Being unproductive in your free time. It's your free time, spend it how you choose. You don't have to be productive if you don't want to. Being bad at the thing you spend hours doing. I mean, you can always just do it for fun without actually wanting to improve. Be it art, video games, or singing. Sarcasm. Being single. Children over 18 living with their parents. I lost both of my parents. I wish I could go back and spend a lot more time with them. Nuclear power. Grown men caring about kids. Want to continue to keep the burden of child-rearing on women? Keep telling men they are creepy for taking their kids to the park or babysitting their nephews/nieces. Showing feelings as a man. Especially to loved ones. Having sexual desires. For crying out loud, Fred Rogers has had sex twice. If Fred Rogers has done it, then it's okay for you to do it. Taxes. They pay for schools, the fire department, the FDA, and EPA. Yes. There are many ways taxes can be managed better, however. Paying for these services we all use, whether we know it or not, keeps our society running. Choosing an unmarried/unpartnered life. I truly believe that being in a long-term relationship where you have to live together for life just isn't for everybody. For some, it's better to have a series of long relationships or shorter ones. There are people who want to live together, and some who don't. A life without romance and/or sex is just fine for some people. 2. It's true that life alone can be harder, and the way the world is made up, it's mostly so two people can share the load. So you need to be creative or just live with it. As to having children, there are so many ways to be a parent these days. Just being in a single two-parent unit isn't the only option anymore. You can have a kid on your own, or with other people, but not be married to them or even live with them. And you don't have to have one or two-parent families. For some, opting out of the lifelong love roommate path will mean giving up the joy of children and grandchildren. But if they are willing to give that up for the life that fits them better, they shouldn't be shamed for it or feel they need to turn into someone who is anti-child. I'd love to have had children, but it just didn't fit into my lifestyle should be just as acceptable an answer as, I would have loved to have had a jet-setting career, but I chose to focus on having a family instead. Failure. Admitting you're wrong. And #X200B. Edit, since I guess some people aren't understanding. I'm not saying it's a popular belief to be willfully refusing to admit wrongdoing. I'm saying people are too prideful to do so. Breaking tradition. It's important to question why we do things and not just go along with it because it's been like that for years. Applying for unemployment. Being a virgin. Just because nobody has shoved themselves inside you or you haven't shoved yourself inside someone else doesn't mean you're worth any less as a person. Asking for help. Not being into social media doesn't mean you are behind the times. It's a choice. Not being close with family. My family have done nothing wrong. They're good, generally non-toxic people. I quite like them for the most part. But I hate the idea of being obligated to family. Giving up my time to go to a cousin's birthday that I haven't seen for years. Or helping a distant relative move house. Because that's what families do. The blood that runs through me means nothing to me. Rain. Crying. I'm a 6 feet 3 inches 230 pounds construction worker and I cry a couple times a year. There's nothing wrong with letting your emotions out. Divorce. Not knowing something. It's not shameful to admit it. Not being close with family. Some families are great. Some not so much. Telling your parents no. According to someone close to me, not having an opinion about something important to them is being rude and inconsiderate. I just think that I don't care about what they care about. It isn't important. Or offensive to me. So I don't care about it one bit. I'm not sure how to categorize this. But this bugs me about people. Procrastination. I'll explain later. Looking out for your mental and physical health first. Curious children. That's like the best thing for a child to be, because they want to learn the facts and form their own opinions. But parents act as if they're like inappropriate or annoying. Hating family members when they fucked you over on purpose multiple times. I hate when tells me but they're family. Well, they should have acted like family then. Asterisk putting yourself first. Asterisk putting money above certain things. Asterisk saying no. Running away or just giving up. Asterisk not being ambitious. And above all things. Asterisk anything you enjoy that does not hurt anyone else. After all, is your life and not theirs. And hashtag X200B. Edits. Other ones I liked are accepting failure and being alone. People think life is like the game of life sometimes. But they oversimplify stuff within each other and to themselves. Going to therapy. Going to dinner or a movie alone. Update, holy shit. Who would have known so many people like being alone? Thanks for the awards and upvotes everyone. Not wanting to have kids. Introducing an entire human life into the world where it heavily depends on you physically, emotionally, and financially for over a decade is a huge deal that people should absolutely put a lot of thought into. Yet many people do it simply because that's just what you do and babies are cute. And then they're constantly complaining about how it's suddenly hard being a parent. Parenthood isn't for everyone. It's a huge decision. People should treat it as such instead of acting like it's a trend. I wish society would quit looking down on those who choose to live a more quiet and stable life instead. Thanks for watching.